A little bit about the project. So I discussed with few students, and then I came to know that I need to explain a little bit about the project. So actually, what you are expecting, we are expecting you from you in this project, is that you select a data set. Now the minimum requirement about the data set is that there should be at least 10 columns in the data set, and by 10 columns I mean 10 workable columns or important columns. For example, if you have a data set about the student names and the GPA and the department, for example, let's suppose, then the name column is worthless. You cannot work on the name column, right? Because there are, let's suppose if you have 30,000 data sets, then you have 30,000 different value in each row. So minimum 10 columns, this is rule number 1, and then you have at least 500 rows in the data set. This is rule number 2. Now the project will consist of 6 different phases that we discussed in chapter number 1. The first one is discovery. You can see here, discovery means to find the data or select the data. This is the first step. Now where from you can get the data? You can get the data from Google dataset, Kaggle, data.gov, datahub.io, UCI machine learning repository. There are a hell lot of different options. You can go to these websites. I have also sent some notification on Blackboard. You can go there, you can search those dataset. I have sent you the name of the dataset. So what you can do, you can go to the Blackboard and you can copy the name of those datasets, and then you can search it online and you will find. But I'm not sure, I haven't saw that what type of datasets are there. So you should see whether they are fulfilling the minimum requirements or not. Now another thing is that the data set should have mixed variables. By mixed variables I mean some variables should be numerical and some variables should be categorical. So this is also important. So minimum 10 variables, some of them should be numerical, some of them should be categoricals, and then minimum observation is 300, it's not 500, sorry. So once you have the data set that is fulfilling the minimum requirement, then you start to work on the data. Now how to work on the data? You read the selected data in Python, okay, and then you need to identify all their row types, the field types. That column number 1 is numerical, column number 2 is categorical, column number 3 is ordinal, column number 4 is nominal, this is numerical, whatever. Then you find all the inconsistencies, the missing data, the outliers, and then you fix these things. Now let's suppose you have found a data set that is clean, right? Now that doesn't mean you will skip this part of the project. If you will skip this part of the project, you will not get the marks for this question, right? So in that case, you will delete some of the data from the data set. For example, you deleted let's suppose you don't have any deleted data, any missing column. So you went to column number 3, row number 188, let's suppose randomly, you delete that value. Then you go to column number 8, row number 232, and then you deleted that value. So that's how you can create few missing value. You can create some outliers. Let's suppose all the value is between 1 and 100, you create one outlier and that is 200. So you create all these problems in the data if there is no problem in the data, and then you solve these problems. Then you go to the model planning. What is model planning? Actually, run the exploratory data analysis. So whatever we have, you find the statistical summaries, you make univariate graphs. What does that mean? That all the numerical columns, you make graph for all the numerical column and all the categorical column. So let's suppose you have let's suppose you have 15 columns, out of which 10 are numerical and 5 are categorical. So for 10 you make scatter plot, line plot, etc, and for 5 you make count plot. So you have different plot types for categorical and numerical, and you will make them. Then you prepare bivariate plots plots based on two variables. Now here you can do one thing. Either you can create based on some logic. Let's suppose that the department, let's suppose you have a data between about the student GPA in the department, and then you create a box plot for the department and the GPA of the students, and you find the mean, median, and 35 and 75. That you can do this, but you should do it for then you should complete the logic for all the variables. Or another thing is that you do it for all variable regardless of any logic. That's also good, but not very good option. So best option is that you create a logic between variables, that this variable and these variables, or this is how created linked or related, and that's why I am creating a graph between them, and this is the result that I have got from the okay. Portray advanced graph based on more than two variables. So today we saw few graphs between three variables by using hue, and then tomorrow we will be discussing graphs, or next week we will be discussing how to make graphs based on more than three variables or maybe three variables. So in that case you will need the rows and the column inside the graphs. That we will see inshallah in next week, but you should also then come with some advanced graphs which have more than two variables. So you plot all the single column, and then you plot two columns, and then you plot three columns, and then you summarize your finding. You write something. Let's suppose you come up with this conclusion that the student from Department of Petroleum Engineering has the highest GPA, and the student from Department of Industrial Engineering is good in mathematics, and let's suppose the student from Computers Engineering is good in coding or whatever. So you come up with summaries, and then you summarize the finding, and you write it in your coding, in your summary. In this course, we are converting three models such as regression. Okay, so we will be working on regression, classification, and clustering. Choose the suitable model. I will tell you that when you come up with me, when you come up to me with your data sets, so I will tell you whether you can use regression, classification, or clustering. But regression and classification are supervised learning and need an output. Regression is numerical data, and classification is done on categorical data, but both of them need an output. Clustering is unsupervised learning. It doesn't need any output, and we will see them in last. But I would suggest to do it in regression or maybe classification. You can do anything, but you need to come up with me with any data, and then I'll see, and then I'll tell you that what to do. Then once you have finalized the whether you can do regression or classification, so you do the regression or the classification model, you develop the model for that data, and then you create whatever is. So that's what until now we have done. For rest of the part of the project, I will inshallah explain it after some time, when you will have a flavor of these three different model: regression and classification and clustering. But till now, I hope you guys need to find the data and then start preparing it. And after in next few weeks, when we will be starting the regression, then I'll let you know that what to do with the data. That's all. Thank you so much. Inshallah, see you soon.